Hey y'all, welcome to today's video. I want to give you a couple pointers that I've kind of learned and picked up over my few years of kayak fishing now. And this will apply to kayaks, to if you're on a boat, honestly pretty much any kind of fishing. It's just in a seated position, you don't have the leverage to cast as far as what you would if you're standing up. Now, I can stand up in this kayak, some of you can, some of you can't, but the concept's all the same. Regardless of where you're at, you just don't have the leverage in a kayak from a seated position. So what I want to show you, first of all, in a kayak, we all know we're all kayak fishing to be stealthy. We can sneak up on these fish, which is one of the amazing things about kayak fishing. So if you can't cast accurately or far enough away to where you're either spooking the fish, or you're not accurate enough, you're throwing into oyster beds or in the grass, anything like that, you're just wasting time not fishing. So being accurate is very, very important, especially if you want to sight cast fish. Knowing where to throw, how to throw, and being able to execute that helps your success rate tremendously. But it's all about leverage. So first thing you want to do, like with me, I'm right-handed. If you're left-handed, it'll probably be different for you. But I usually try to make sure the right side of my kayak's clear, because 9 times out of 10, I'm going to cast on this side. So I want to make sure I don't have any rods, anything like that behind me, because I've done this before, and I've lost a couple eyelets on rods from catching it with a lure or hook. I've completely tangled up crap, and literally you're sitting there, like I said, wasting time not fishing to where your success rate automatically goes down. So make sure anything you've got on your most dominant side is out of the way. And then second of all, like with this one, I'm just going to throw, it's just a 1/4 ounce jig head, so it's nothing real heavy, with a little 3.5 inch paddle tail. But so whenever you come back, I try to be, in a kayak I can't completely do it, but I try to be as close to directly behind my dominant shoulder as what I can. Take your non-dominant hand, the very bottom of the rod, and now you just want to whip it. So you want to pull with your non-dominant hand and push with your dominant hand. So it's going to look just like that. You just want to whip it is the best way that you can. So that way you're getting that leverage, compared to where if you're standing up, you can use your legs, you can turn your body, you can use your hips, your torso, that type of stuff to help get distance. So once again, it's very easy, get back as close to what you can to directly behind you. Non-dominant hand at the very bottom of the rod, like this one, has got a grip at the bottom, so it's easy to tell. And then just whip that thing. So that will help with your distance. Like I said, whenever you're trying to not spook fish, being as stealthy as possible is huge. So, you want to stay away from where you see fish movement, anything like that. So it might be a 30-yard cast, 50-yard cast, something like that. So you want to be able to do that, and then you want to be accurate. And keeping as straight back to your body as you can, because if you start going like off center, if you're holding this thing out to, I don't even say a 45, but you're like a 60-degree angle. Well, now if I want to cast to my right, my rod's automatically casting into my left, so now my cast has to readjust how I'm doing that. So wherever you want to fish at, so like over here, you can see I got some grass, then there's a break, and then there's more grass. So if I want to cast in that break, what I will do, because I have nothing out here, is I will aim my rod. I want the butt of my rod to be where I want to cast at, and then same concept, just whip it. And like that, I mean, it's dead in between those two, right where I wanted to cast at. So whenever you're doing this, whatever your target is, make sure the butt of your rod is at what you're trying to cast to. So it's pretty simple. It's just like anything else. Time on task. Once again, butt of the rod right where I want it to go, and then straight up and over my shoulder. And once again, dead in where that seam's at, in between those grass. which would be a perfect place for a fish to be laying in of any form of inshore fish. So these are just a couple little tips to help you getting that whip. You know, it's like I'm a big movie guy, so it's like the Ricky Bobby, the slingshot engage is what the concept is. So you want to take this is your lead car if you're a NASCAR fan, this is the reel, is your car in the draft, and you just want to whip that thing up and around it. Engage that slingshot, as Ricky Bobby says. So and then last one, like I said, is just make sure the butt is pointed at whatever you're aiming at. Now you have to get used to like your distance control and that type of stuff, which, same deal. It's all just time on task of just knowing how hard you need to whip that. If it's open water and you're trying to throw it as far as you can, have at it. And of course I get snagged up. So if you're on open water and you're just trying to sling that thing as far as you can, you still want to be accurate, but you don't have to worry about it. Just whip that thing as hard as you can whip it. Like John Daly used to say, grip it and rip it, man, let her fly. But whenever you start fishing creeks and things get tight, or you do see fish movement, you want to be as accurate as possible so that success rate can go up. It's just a matter of putting yourself in those situations, but this will apply to anybody, like I said, boat, kayak, even on shore, same deal, same concept works from the beach, and this, same deal. It applies to whether you're freshwater fishing or saltwater fishing. So if you like this type of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I mainly do saltwater fishing. I do tips and tricks like this of things that I have learned. And as always, if you're interested in any hats, email me at saltwaterbuffalo121@gmail.com. And until the next one, remember, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.